Well, there seems to be a new controversy in American politics, and it was something that I was hoping, like so many issues, that I could just sort of skip over and not talk about, but it's persisted now for quite a few days, and I don't think that this whole meme will be going away. And so here it is. Essentially, people think that Trump is trying to sabotage the post office to discredit mail-in ballots or something like that, or to try and suppress Democrats or whatever other idea they have. And I keep seeing people post these pictures of pickup trucks with mailboxes in the back of them. People are stealing mailboxes, and the post office is saying that they're having trouble getting that they have delays getting all of the ballots out, and it's just, they think it's some big conspiracy, and that Trump is trying to destroy the election so that he can, I guess claim that, okay, mail-in voting didn't work, so I'm just going to be president for life or something like that. And so what it sounds like to me is that the Democrats are now very concerned about the security of mail-in voting, and they think that it's possible that perhaps by mailing in all these ballots, it would be pretty easy for the president or whoever else is in power to stuff the ballot box and to cheat, essentially. Whether that's, adding in fake votes or removing legitimate votes. And this is very ironic from the people who have been telling me that, every state should just do mail-in voting for everything because it's perfectly secure and just fine, and there's no problems with mail-in voting. But I guess you could say that, ordinarily there wouldn't be a problem with mail-in voting, but there's a problem with Trump, and everything that Trump touches dies. To which my response would be, well, why didn't you think of that? But, you can't really reason with people at this point, because this is mostly sort of the deranged resistance crowd on Twitter that is whining about Trump, destroying the Postal Service. But then again, you have all the mainstream media outlets, which, well, they're pretty much in line with the deranged resistance people. I mean, that's really who created, the quote-unquote resistance, because the resistance folks are not the far left by any means. The far left are much more reasonable people than your resistance crowd. Your resistance crowd are more people, I guess, who watch mainstream news and read newspapers, who have just been worked up into a frenzy over the orange fascist known as Donald Trump. Now, to me, what's going on here is pretty obvious. It's actually, what most people who are not big fans of mail-in voting, thought would happen. And that's that the Postal Service, the Postal Service is, it's not the most efficient agency in the world. It's actually known for being incredibly inefficient. It hasn't made money in decades. It should have been bankrupt a long time ago. They have to be bailed out every year just to stay operating. And so, they're not even able to do, their normal workload in an efficient manner. And then now you put the burden on them of delivering and then, returning the votes of every American in the country. Well, of course, there's going to be a ton of delays, confusion, and just general mismanagement. That's what the Postal Service is. How could you expect anything else? So you don't need some crazy conspiracy that, oh my gosh, why would the post office not be delivering my mail on time? It must be Orange Man trying to destroy the post office and sully the reputation of the humble mailman. And the answer is no, that's not true. The post office just sucks. And, maybe these people will start to admit it, but I guess as long as Trump's in office, they have an excuse for why the post office sucks. If only we get our guy in there, well, then the post office will be great. And the ironic thing is that used to be the case. Back before the early 20th century, before the progressive era, the post office and the police were two highly politicized agencies, and that everyone, usually when a new mayor came in, all the cops got fired. And were replaced with, his buddies. And the same thing is true at other levels of government where they appointed, postmaster generals. The old guy would be out, and they would bring in some new political friend of, whoever the elected official is to be the new postmaster general. And people thought this was bad. So the post office was depoliticized, supposedly, a long time ago. So I find it interesting that now you again have people complaining about the post office being some kind of political agency working or being destroyed by Trump by putting in some right-wing postmaster general who's just trying to ruin everything. Now, ironically, some people, and this is the top story actually, if you go to Reuters, I've seen it there for 2 days now. Apparently, a lot of people are calling on trying to get UPS and FedEx to deliver all the ballots, which I must admit probably would work out much better. But even still, I mean, those they're not really. They didn't plan for any of this. So if you just suddenly dump on them, hey, here's an extra 150 million votes or letters, envelopes that you have to deliver and return, that would put strain on them as well. But it is funny to see people appealing to the private sector to try and solve the problems of the inefficiency of the post office. In fact, there was the first company that tried to do this, the American Letter Mail Company, founded by the very heroic Lysander Spooner. They not only delivered mail for cheaper than the post office, but they did it more often. I think they had like 2 deliveries a day or something like that. And of course, they were driven underground or into the ground by the government, who did not like anybody competing with the post office. Luckily, we've left that barbaric part of our history, and FedEx and UPS and DHL, I guess, are allowed to operate. So what's the end game with all this? Everybody really seems to be complaining about the legitimacy of this whole election already, and we're still a couple months away from it. The Republicans think mail-in voting is rigged. Now, apparently the Democrats think mail-in voting is rigged. So no matter who wins, they're going to say that the other side rigged it in their favor because, mail-in voting is corrupt or whatever. And so, you're not going to have a settling of people's differences after this election. You certainly won't have it on election night because, of course, it takes a very long time to count all these mail-in ballots. And who knows, maybe they will, they'll probably sue and have it ruled that if somebody was postmarked by election day, then they can still count the ballots. So who knows how many weeks it'll take for even all the ballots to come in that will be counted in these different states. And then there will probably be recount efforts, and it's just going to be hell. Who knows if we'll know, by December. And frankly, I don't even know if I care. Who knows if, who the president is will even matter by then. Because at the rate things are going, things keep getting worse in America. I think that way too many people are forgetting that we are entering the next Great Depression. And no matter who wins, ultimately, or who is declared the winner, they're not going to be able to save you from that anytime soon. No president can save you from economic hardship unless everyone else is doing great and the president can just tax other people and give you their money. But if everyone's down in the dumps, then there's no way to bail you out. If everyone needs a bailout, then no one can get a bailout. And likewise, if everyone thinks that the election is illegitimate, then there can be no legitimate winner. So with that said, if you gain anything of value out of this video, I'd appreciate you clicking that like button and sharing this video. And if you haven't already, please do subscribe because I do upload every day and I'd hate to have you miss one. So I'll see you folks back here tomorrow.